Someone at the Greenville Group is beyond stupid, embarrassingly, painfully, psychotically stupid. And they continue to deliberately choose to sponsor and house a sex offender psycho pig, Jasmine Irizarry, in this building, not just in this building, but in the bathroom behind my kitchen sink, where she is at this moment at 3:45 a.m. on a Sunday, doxing her physical presence just inches behind the wall of my kitchen sink by deliberately burning, blowing, and propagating using the same exact propagation method or device as she has been using since 2013 to fill my entire kitchen area, my bathroom, and my bedside area with sickening, overpowering, nauseating amounts of cigar and marijuana smoke that have been the exact same stench since 2013, that have been the exact same amount of overpowering, continuous, sickening fumes since 2013. And over the last 2.5 hours, while I've been lying on this bed in the dark, quietly trying to sleep, covered by a blanket, clothed. I do not sleep in my underwear, let alone naked, because of the sex offender psycho trash perving pigs that the Greenville Group has been continuously housing in Unit 88, 76, and 78 for years now. I cannot even walk around in my underwear without these pieces of psycho trash becoming violent and aggressive against the walls that my unit share with theirs. I'm talking about Mark Collins in 88 between 2013 and 2015. I'm talking about that disgusting filth, Michael Collins, the sex offender masturbating pig, housed in Unit 88 right next to mine between 2015 and 2021. I'm talking about Jason DaCosta, the fat, hideous pedophile scum, housed in Unit 88 between 2022 and 2 months ago, when the police removed him because he was threatening to kill me and calling my phone and telling me that he watches me when I sleep. And those voicemails would be left on my phone as I was lying down on my bed going to sleep, which is a silent activity that no one should have any knowledge of, let alone the pedophile perving pigs like DaCosta that the Greenville Group and their sponsor, the Koritnik family and Oleg Aleseyev, seem to deliberately cram in large numbers in all of the adjacent units to mine, even though they claim that this building is not for criminals, it's for people who have jobs. Well, apparently the only jobs that fat pedophile pig DaCosta and the disgusting, stinking, contaminated sex offender Jasmine Irizarry and the violent psycho thug directly below 76, who actually just came up the front stairs 10 minutes ago while I was standing on the landing trying to get some fresh air due to Irizarry's nonstop propagation of cigar smoke from behind the wall of my kitchen sink. That giant beast of a disgusting piece of shit came up the front stairs and slammed the door directly below to the unit directly below mine. So now I know who's been slamming and banging things directly beneath my bed. It's a gigantic, hideous beast of a piece of shit who will never have anything to do with me. And they're a rejected scumbag because all they do is sit around slamming things against the area below my bed day and night, 7 days a week. But I did see that person going straight up the front stairs and got a good look at them. They're approximately 6'3". They're hideously obese. They're hideously ugly. They're a disgusting creature, a filthy piece of filth who will never have anything to do with me. It's the same reject that's been doing this for the last 3 years, who has come up to my door on multiple occasions and tried to break it down with rods and sticks, screaming and shouting like a fucking filthy animal that they can hear what I'm doing in here. Anyway, I just left 2 voicemails for the Greenville Group because, again, as I've been lying here on my bed in the dark, quietly trying to sleep flat on my back with one of my knees bent because I have lower back problems, the sex offender psycho pigs in 76 and 78 have been getting really aggressive and agitated and have resumed the use of a directed energy device that they themselves had admitted to using in writing on my social media page on videos that I made about how they are using some type of an electronic assault device. That's how you know you're dealing with abject stupidity, not just by the stupid criminals who admit in writing to doing exactly what you keep suspecting that they're doing, but also the third world shithole criminal slumlords who are paying and sponsoring these psycho rejects in all of the adjacent units to mine, while claiming that this building is for normal people who have jobs. That must mean they're violating their own stated policy of not housing sex offenders or criminals in the 5 Union Ave building, but then deliberately housing multiple sex offenders and violent criminals in all of the adjacent units to mine. That's not a strange coincidence. Oleg Alisyev is a sociopath who has a soft spot or maybe a thing for sex offenders because maybe he himself has some pedophile tendencies and is a crooked slumlord, a crooked Russian slumlord who have been informed by multiple people who have nothing to do with me, but have a lot of knowledge of what goes on in the housing business and in the Russian community in Boston, that Oleg Alisyev is a member of the Russian mafia, as are the Koritnik family who own the property. So at 3:40, I left a voicemail for the Greenville group explaining that over the last 2.5 hours, I've been lying on my bed, quietly trying to rest, flat on my back with my knee bent to alleviate lower back pain, and Irizarry, the sex offender, stinking, perving, shithole pig, has resumed her use of the directed energy device that she herself has admitted to using on me when she made multiple written comments admitting to doing exactly that. How sad for that piece of shit, Irizarry, the pedophile pig. How stupid on the part of the fat, stinking, contaminated pedophile pig. Did I say that she's HIV positive? That's a fact. That is a medical fact. How do I know this? Because Jasmine Irizarry was an inmate at the Lemuel Shattuck Hospital in 2006. Even in 2006, she was a homicidal pedophile psychopath who would try to kill other inmates and staff by deliberately vomiting on them with her contaminated body fluids. And staff had to wear protective gear around Jasmine Irizarry. Now she lives in this building and is being continually permitted by her friend and sponsor, Oleg Alisyev, to access the permanently unrented vacant premises of Unit 78, conveniently located directly behind my toilet and behind my kitchen sink. So I've had to open my window, even though there's some psycho pedophile pervert down there blasting music for hours at a time, sitting in that giant silver BLM masturbating mobile that they use to hate stalk women and sit in for hours, blasting music, licking their phone screens, perving and creeping all over women they'll never know. Well, that was going on up until approximately 2 a.m. when the police finally showed up. And since then, as soon as I closed my window and tried to lie on this bed to sleep, Irizarry started going to town with her directed energy device, apparently in some sort of retribution for having called the police on her disgusting beta male, bottom-feeding, pervert friend, the BLM psycho pig who sits in that giant SUV disrupting the neighborhood at 2 a.m. And then to confirm that it's actually her in the bathroom of 78 using a directed energy weapon, when I quietly tried to use my bathroom at 3:30 in the morning, which was now 20 minutes ago, Irizarry started triggering herself into using the same type of smoke and fume propagation method or device that she's been using since 2013 to fill my entire bathroom and living space within a few moments with overpowering, sickening amounts of cigar and marijuana smoke. It's the same foul stench that she has been emanating for 11 years now into my living space, just like she emanates her contaminated HIV positive vomit all over the staff and other patients at the Lemuel Shattuck Hospital. She's a contaminated piece of shit who is psychotically obsessed with women who aren't as disgusting and disturbed as she is. So while I sit here, live my life, try to quietly use my toilet, try to quietly sleep on my bed, try to quietly keep my windows closed while watching a fun movie, the BLM psycho trash that is being sponsored and housed by the Greenville Group in large numbers, who also happen to be career criminals, pedophiles, and sex offenders like Charles Thomas, like Wenner Rodriguez, like, what's his name, Eduardo Hurtado, who violently assaulted me a couple of blocks away from here when I was walking back to the building on my way home from work, legitimate retail work, at 12:30 a.m. one night, because everybody knows retail stores don't close at 6 p.m. A lot of them close at 11. So when you're coming home at midnight and you're a retail worker, it doesn't mean that you're a hooker. It means you're a retail worker that just got out of the last shift for that store. Eduardo Hurtado physically assaulted me because he believed the lies that the Greenville Group, specifically Robert McLean, who has a thing with gang rape, was telling all of this psycho scum, male career thugs that are being crammed in large numbers in the holding pen here at the Greenville Group's 191 Green Street property, that I'm a hooker. And then, of course, the psycho trash perving pigs that the Greenville Group houses in large numbers at the 191 Green Street building think that I'm a hooker, and they think it's okay to come at me physically and try to physically assault me in whatever ways they can. And the result of that is that pedophile sex offenders like Charles Thomas can't stop coming at me and threatening to kill me. Like Wenner Rodriguez was coming at me, threatening to kill me, and physically assaulted me and gave me whiplash. Eduardo Hurtado was threatening to kill me, came at me, and violently assaulted me, and I had to go to the hospital with a concussion and a neck injury. These are the sex offender psycho trash that Mr. Oleg Eliseyev and Robert McLean and the Kritnik family cram in large numbers in this building complex because they hate women and they're a bunch of perving, creeping, reject, third world shithole sex offender scum. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have much sympathy for Russian slumlords that use this building complex as a money laundering operation for their drug kingpin activities or whatever it is, the trafficking of images of nude women showering and using the toilets in this building. Not just me, it's also happening in the common bathrooms of the floors of the 5 Union Ave building. I can't speak for what goes on in the other buildings. I haven't used any of those bathrooms, but I know enough of what I've experienced, the nonstop violence and harassment that happen almost instantaneously whenever I use any bathroom in this building, every single time I try to use any bathroom, including the common bathrooms, to let you know that the Greenville Group is deliberately sponsoring Jasmine Irizarry as their surveillance expert. They've referred to her as such on multiple occasions over the last few years, to use a network of illegal, unlawful surveillance devices in the bathrooms of the 5 Union Ave building to perv and creep all over what people do in those bathrooms, including the private bathroom I have here in my unit. So the result of that is that 20 minutes ago, when I quietly tried to use my toilet at 3:30 in the morning, Jasmine Irizarry started getting all violent and triggered and deliberately propagated sickening, overpowering amounts of marijuana and cigar smoke that continue to fill my living space, to the point that right now I have my window wide open and have to keep it open, even though there's a safety issue because there's no screen. And there's also a noise issue because the BLM sex offender scum beta male hate stalkers who sit in the SUV that's parked directly below my windows like to blast all kinds of music at 2 in the morning. And then I have to call the police. So this right here is the Greenville Group preventing me from being able to sleep because they are allowing a pedophile, sex offender, psychopath, Jasmine Irizarry, along with the violent career thug, that filthy, hideously ugly beast of a rejected creature directly below in 76, to become violent, aggressive, and harmful towards me in any way they possibly can when I quietly try to use my toilet at 3:30 in the morning, and when I quietly try to lie on my bed, flat on my back, with my knee bent to alleviate my lower back pain in the dark, but somehow that one position, and you can probably guess why, seems to trigger them into using a directed energy device to electronically assault me almost each and every single time I lie on my bed, flat on my back, with one knee bent, because they're disgusting, sick and twisted, hideous, rejected piece of trash who are so perverted that they think that whatever they see on their phone screen is real and has something to do with them, and then they become violent and aggressive towards it. And I'm talking about what I do on my bed. Nothing weird, just lying in a certain position that seems to get them all worked up every time I lie in that position. And now I have to keep my window open because as I'm talking about Irizarry, she's getting all aggressive and triggered directly behind this wall and deliberately blowing sickening amounts of the same exact stench that she has been deliberately propagating from behind that wall since 2013. As I just mentioned, I was in the hallway 10 minutes ago, and there's absolutely no smoke or fumes anywhere in the hallway. Oh, she's really triggered at this point because I just got blasted by another, waft of the stinking stench that she is constantly emanating, like the HIV-contaminated pedophile pig that she is. All that piece of shit does is smear everything around her with her filth, with her stench, with her disgusting psychosis, because she's a hideous piece of filth. And that is a fact. Just look it up. Rejects who hate stalk my channel and have no lives. And that's why the only people who actually watch my videos, aside from law enforcement, if I happen to send the videos to law enforcement, are the perving, creeping rejects in this building complex that have such wasted, empty, psycho reject lives that all they do is make nasty comments on my videos that I don't even read anyway. Maybe 6 months later, I'll go back and try to find some kind of useful information, but I don't read them. Too bad.